Good evening, guys.
Good evening, sir.
Let's get started. So yesterday we discussed two important points. What were they? So one, we discussed about the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, and the second is we discussed about Lenz's law. Right. So today we are going to discuss another important topic, which is called as the motional electromotive force, or we can call it as motional EMF also. Okay. So the name motional itself is suggesting that it has come because the conductor is put into motion. Okay. So for that, what we will do is let us consider a scenario like this. So let us consider a uniform magnetic field which is directed into the plane of the paper, or in which there is a metallic frame placed, okay, a metallic frictionless frame, metallic frictionless frame that is placed, on which there is a conductor like this, which is moving. So there is a conductor that is moving in the leftward direction with a speed v. Let's say at some instant, the conductor is at a distance x from the fixed end. Okay. The conductor is at a fixed distance, conductor is at a distance x from the fixed end. And let's say the length of the conductor is L. Okay, let's say the length of the conductor is L. Am I clear till this point? You guys understood the construction, right?
Yes, sir.
So in this kind of a construction, if this conductor is moving, then how will there be an EMF generated in it is what the topic all about. Okay. So from the basics of this chapter, from the initial basics of this chapter, we know that EMF is equal to d phi divided by dt. So EMF is equal to d phi divided by dt. Correct? So what is going to be the flux as a function of time? So let's say at instant t, the flux is phi. At instant t, the flux is phi. Okay. Then phi will be equal to b into a into cos theta. Right. So the magnetic field that is present here is b. B into what is the area that is enclosed by this coil?
L
Is
into
it
X.
not L into x into cos of? I told you, right, whenever you're talking about a two-dimensional shape, it is always convenient for us to take the aerial vector in the direction of magnetic field. So I will take it as 0 degrees. Right, this will be B into L into X. So this is the value of flux. Right. So is this flux a constant or a variable? Is this flux going to be a constant or a variable?
It will be variable because
Why?
it's movable. The thing is movable, so the
Because
LX might
yes,
change.
because X is changing. L is fixed, B is fixed because uniform magnetic field. So B is fixed. L is also fixed. What about X? X is changing. So flux is a function of displacement. Differentiating flux on both sides, what do we get? D phi by dt will be equal to B into L into dx divided by dt. Right. So B into L into, what is the value of dx by dt? The rate of change of distance is given as velocity. And we know the fact that d phi by dt is the EMF. Somebody's mic is on. Please switch it off. So EMF is equal to D into L into V. Right. So this EMF E is what is called as the motional EMF, and this value is what is D into L into V. Guys, am I clear with this?
Yes, sir.
That's good. This is an important expression to be remembered. If you observe, I wrote only the magnitude here, right? Everything is written only in terms of magnitude. But when I say EMF, then you need to talk about the polarities that are getting generated at the ends of the conductor also. How do we do that?
Lens.
That is where we need to apply Lenz law. Okay. So first write it down. Okay. Clear with this? Now see. So when the conductor is moving in this direction, before that, I told you yesterday one important point. What is it? You have to first look at the external magnetic field. The external magnetic field is into the plane. So the paper is acting like
South pole.
yes. Then we are like north pole, right? We are
Okay.
only emitting the magnetic field lines. So we are the north pole. Now, when the conductor is moving to the left, is the flux decreasing or increasing? So
It's decreasing because the area is decreasing.
very good. The flux is decreasing because the area is decreasing. As a result of which, when the flux is decreasing, what kind of a polarity will get generated with respect to the surface it is facing? So it is facing the north pole, right? It is facing the north pole. So there will be an opposite polarity that will get generated. So it will be
South.
so south pole means current will flow. There is a mistake in the diagram. 1 minute, wait. Wait. So when the conductor is moving to the left, the flux is decreasing, obviously, because the area is decreasing. When the area is decreasing, the flux is decreasing, it should generate the opposite polarity. Opposite polarity is when it is facing the north pole, it should generate the south pole. So actually, the diagram is wrong. The current should be in this direction. Okay, current should be in this direction. As a result of which, what I'm trying to say is, but wait. I think there is some mistake. 1 minute. I think they are right only because. No. In both the ways, I find it to be wrong. I'll tell you the reason why it is wrong. Okay. So the diagram is wrong from the textbook. Is anyone having the latest version in the hand? Can you check in the textbook? Have they given it clockwise or anti-clockwise? Guys, are you there? So what is the direction they are given in the textbook?
Yes, sir, I'm checking, sir.
Okay, check.
Sir, in the textbook I have it is the opposite direction of what is shown in the screens.
That's what I'm saying. That is right. I'll tell you because I validated in two methods. I'll tell you an alternate way also. So we have Lenz law now. So please correct this, guys. If anybody's textbook is given like this, please correct it. There is a mistake. So this is the direction. Right? Means this will have a positive polarity and this will have a negative polarity because current flows. See, this is a very common mistake which people do. Okay. So we know that current flows from higher to lower potential outside the conductor, whereas inside the conductor, current always flows from lower to higher. Nobody thinks about this. I repeat the statement, listen to this carefully. When somebody asks you, how does the current flow outside? Right? When they ask, how does the current flow in a circuit? Current flows from higher to lower potential in the circuit, whereas within the conductor itself, the current will flow from lower to higher potential. Okay. Hence, Q should be positively charged and P should be negatively charged. Okay. This is one way of finding. So I hope everybody is clear with how I found the direction, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, the other way of finding the direction is observe. If I take P and Q, electron is there, velocity is in this direction, magnetic field is into the plane of the paper. Correct? So when this is the case, when you take the electron, what is going to be the force experienced by the electron? Is it not E into V vector cross B vector? According to Lorentz force, it is E into V vector cross B vector. So E into, but here E is negative, okay? So I'm taking the minus sign also, minus E into, what is the value of B vector? B minus I cap cross, the value of B is B minus K cap, right? So if I take the minus, so if I take EVB outside, I cap cross K cap is how much? It is minus J cap, right? So minus EVB into minus J cap, or it is going to be EVB into plus J cap. So this is the value of the force experienced by the electron. Are you able to understand? Means the electron will start experiencing a force in the upward direction, as a result of which all those negatively charged particles will experience a force in the upward direction. So they get accumulated at the top, leaving behind the positive charge at the bottom. You're able to understand this logic? So one way of finding the polarity is using Lenz law. The other way of finding the polarity is by using Lorentz force. Clear, da? Everybody?
Yes.
Yes. So the negative charge will get accumulated at the top and the positive charge will get accumulated at the bottom. Right? Now, let's solve a problem that is based on this concept. There is a metallic rod of 1 meter length, which is rotated with a frequency of 50 revolutions per second, with one end hinged at the center and the other end at the circumference of a circular metallic ring of radius 1 meter. About an axis passing through the center and perpendicular to the plane of the ring, a constant and uniform magnetic field of 1 Tesla parallel to the axis is present everywhere. What is the EMF between the center and the metallic ring? What is the EMF between the center and the metallic ring? Shall we start?
Yes.
Okay. So see, look at this problem. There is a metallic rod of length 1 meter, which is placed in a uniform magnetic field. Okay. So the circular metallic ring is going to exist. So there is a circular metallic ring inside which there is a rod which is placed in such a way that one end is hinged at the center and the other is fixed to the circumference. So let's say it starts revolving in the anti-clockwise direction with respect to an angular velocity omega. Okay. Now our job is to find what is the EMF that is getting generated across the ends of that rod. So how do we do that? So the best way to do is by calculating the flux as a function of time. Right? What is the value of flux? Flux is equal to B into A into cos theta, where theta is what? Theta is the angle. Oh, okay, here also theta is there. So I will use cos alpha, where alpha is the angle between B vector and A vector. Right? So B is into the plane, areal vector is. So how much is the area swept in time t? So understand one thing, guys. B is a constant. Accepted? Why is B a constant?
Yes.
Because it's a uniform magnetic field, right? Alpha is 0 degrees. I told you for 2 dimension, you take the direction of magnetic field and area to be the same direction. So area swept by the rod in time is get changed. So if I say for 2 pi radians, the area swept is pi r square. For theta radians, how much will be the area? It will be theta divided by 2 pi into pi r square is the area. So pi and pi will get cancelled. So A will be equal to r square theta by 2. Guys, any doubt at this point? Did you understand? So when the rod revolves around 2 pi radians, it covers an area of pi r square. When the rod revolves to an angle theta, it covers an area of how much value? Theta by 2 pi into pi r square. So it is r square theta divided by 2. Right. Then what is going to be the flux value? B into r square theta divided by 2. But what is EMF, guys? Is it not d phi by dt? D r square by 2 into d phi divided, sorry, d theta divided by dt. D r square by 2 into d theta by dt is going to be omega. Right. So what is d phi by dt? It is EMF. So EMF is equal to b r square omega divided by. So that is the answer. And you can, wherever you have a metallic rod which is revolving in a circular orbit, you can take this as a formula to solve that problem. So you need not sit and derive it for every problem. You can take this as a formula itself. Okay. So try this problem. So there is a wheel with 10 metallic spokes, each of 0.5 meter long, is rotated with the speed of. See here, though they use the word speed, look at the unit. Revolution per minute is frequency. So frequency is 120 revolution per minute. In a plane normal to the horizontal component of the Earth's magnetic field, if the Earth's magnetic field intensity is 0.4 Gauss or 0.4 into 10 power minus 4 Tesla, because 1 Gauss is 10 power minus 4 Tesla. What is the induced EMF between the axle and the rim of the wheel? Note that 1 Gauss is 10 power minus 4 Tesla. Okay. It's very simple, right? Length is 0.5. The number of spokes are 10. So what is the formula for EMF? Half into B R square omega. That's what we derived in the previous problem. So half into B is how much? 0.4 into 10 power minus 4. R square, R is nothing but L here. So half square into omega is how much? Omega is 2 pi F. Okay, substitute all the values, you will get the value of EMF. In this problem, the trickiest part is, most common mistake that happens is, because they gave 10 spokes, people will start multiplying with 10. No. Whatever is the value of whatever is the value of EMF across one spoke, it will be the same across all other because they are in parallel. Clear, guys? Okay. Next. We will do another problem. This is a very, very important problem. This is based on the motional EMF concept only. Okay. So let's do example 6.8. Refer to the figure that is shown here. The arm PQ, where is it? Yeah, the arm PQ of the conductor is moved from x is equal to 0 outwards. The uniform magnetic field is perpendicular to the plane and extends from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to p, and is 0 for the value of x greater than p. Only the arm PQ possesses substantial resistance small r. Consider the situation when the arm PQ is pulled outwards from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to b and then moved back to x is equal to 0 with a constant speed v. Obtain expressions for the flux, the induced EMF, the force necessary to pull the arm, and the power dissipated as joule heat. Sketch the variation of these quantities with distance. It's a very, very important problem. Ensure you mark it. Shall we start? So, what is the value of flux, guys? So, they are asking us to obtain the expression for what all parameters? Flux, induced EMF, force necessary to pull the arm, then the power dissipated. Okay. So we need to sketch the variation of all these quantities with respect to distance. So how do we do it? Let's see. So first we'll calculate the flux. So what is the formula for flux here? B into A into cos theta. B is how much? B is B only. What is the value of area? L into this distance is, it is L into X. Correct? So B into L into X is the value of flux. Now look at the way I'm going to solve this. Flux is equal to B into L into X for all values of X that lies less than or equal to B and greater than 0. Correct? Because only till this X is equal to B, the value of X is going to change. After that, flux is equal to B into L into small b for all values of X greater than B. Guys, are you accepting this? Because let's say when the conductor is at a point M, okay, when the conductor is at point M, means once the conductor crosses this position, what will happen is the maximum flux that is needed is already got associated with this. So after this, the conductor, how much ever distance it moves on the right side, the flux is going to be a constant with the value of B into L into B. Accepted? Yes or no?
Yes.
So flux will be equal to B into L into X, and the second case flux will be equal to B into L into B. So look at the way I'm going to write it. Flux as a function of displacement is equal to B into L into X for the value of X less than B and greater than 0. It is B into L into B for all values of X that is greater than B. Or else I can put it like this, since our interest of study is only till 2B, can put it like this, but it actually goes till infinity. Okay. Now, when this is the flux, what is going to be the EMF? We know that EMF is equal to minus d phi by dt. This will be equal to minus of d by dt of B into L into X, and this will be 0. This is when X is greater than 0, less than or equal to B. This when X is greater than B and less than 2B. Okay. This value will be minus B into L into dx divided by dt less than or equal to B, 0 when X is greater than B and less than 2B. But what is dx by dt, guys? Hey, 1 minute, 1 minute. They asked us to speak about the return journey also, right? So it will be B into L into B when X is greater than B and less than 2. Are you guys able to understand or not?
Yes, sir.
So similarly, here also it is going to be B into L into B when the value of X is and again it will decrease minus B into L into X when the value of X is greater than B and less than 0. Okay. So when you draw the graph for this, let me draw the graph and show you. So flux when X is 0 is 0. it increases till the value of B. From B to 2B, it is constant. And from 2B to B again, it is a constant. And from here, it decreases. Okay. So this is how the flux is going to be a function of distance. Please make a note of this point. Done? So what about EMF? EMF will be minus BLB when the value of x is greater than 0, less than or equal to B. 0 when the value of x is greater than B, less than 2B. It is BLB when the value of x is greater than 0, less than or equal to B. 0 when the value of x is greater than B and less than 2B. So if you take the EMF alone, then what will happen is it is negative here. With a value of minus BLB. Till which point? Till x is equal to B. From B to 2B, it is 0. And from 2B to B, again it is 0. And from B to 2B, the value will be like this. So this value is minus BLB and this value will be BLB. Okay. Is there any doubt till here?
No, sir.
Okay. Next is we need to calculate the force. So for calculating the force, what we will do is first we'll calculate the current. So we know that F is equal to B into I into L, right? So what is the value of I? I is equal to EMF divided by capital R. So B is B only. EMF is how much? EMF is minus BLB divided by R. So this will be the value of force between which 2 points? When the value of x is greater than 0 and less than B. 0 when x is greater than B, less than 2B. B into BLB divided by R into L for the value of x greater than 0, less than B, and 0 for x greater than B and less than 2B. So what will happen is this will be minus B square L square V divided by R, 0, B square L square V divided by R, and this is also 0. So when you try to draw the graph here, minus b square L square V divided by R. This point is B, this point is 2B, this point is B, again 2B. Sorry, again 0. So this will be 0, and here it will be plus b square L square V divided by R. So this is X, and this is the force. Done. And the last will be power. Power is equal to, we can write it as force into velocity. So what is force? Or I can write it like power is equal to force into velocity is mechanical. So you can write I square R. I square is b square L square V square divided by R square into R. This and this will get cancelled. So b square L square V divided by R for the value of x greater than 0 less than b, 0 for x greater than b and less than 2b. Again b square L square V square divided by R for x greater than 0 and less than b, and 0 for x greater than b and less than 2b. Okay. If I take power, b square L square V divided by R till 0 to b, and from b to 2b it is 0, 2b to b again it is 0, and here also it will be b square L square V divided by R. Okay, so this is all. This is how you do this problem. Am I clear? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So next is we'll do some more exercise problems. I'm doing some important problem. You are going to do now. I'll give you 2 minutes for each problem. You guys do and tell me. So you need to predict the direction of induced current in the situations described by the following figures 6.18a till F. Do it and tell me. So what is the answer for the first one?
Sir, since the south pole of the magnet is entering the solenoid, the solenoid will also gain south pole.
Very good. So it will get south pole. So south pole means the current will flow in the
Clockwise.
correct. So current will flow in clockwise direction. So clockwise means
QRPQ.
very good. QRPQ. Correct. It is QRPQ because south pole will get generated. Try the second one.
So the second
So
one,
PRQ, sir.
Try it again.
PRQP.
Is it PRQP?
QRPQ.
No.
Sir,
It is QRPQ only because see, I'll zoom and show you what will happen is you are able to observe. So since
sir.
this is moving closer, this will also be south pole.
Yes, sir.
Wait. This will also be south pole means current will start moving in the clockwise direction. So when it is clockwise, the current will go to the next loop. Okay, then current will so first current will come out of P, it will flow like this, it will go in this way, and then only come back to Q so that it will again start this loop. The answer will be PRQP.
Sir, but there's another coil, sir.
That is for this one. What about that thing?
YZX, sir.
See, because this north pole is let's see. Since the north pole is moving away from the coil, this side will be
South
south pole.
Yes, sir.
This side is south pole. So one side is south pole, the other side obviously has to be north pole. So north pole
Yes, sir.
means anti-clockwise direction current will flow. So again, zoom and show. So anti-clockwise current will first come like this. It will flow like this. So it is YZ.
YZXY.
Yes. So it will be YZXY. Clear with this? Now try
Yes,
this.
sir. Sir, is there a magnet?
No, it's not a magnet, but it's a current carrying conductor. Current carrying conductor also acts like a magnet only. No?
Sir, is it ZYXZ?
How are you telling? I need the logic.
Sir, I can't hear you. Your voice is feeble.
I'm saying, how did you tell that? What is the logic?
Sir, we're looking at the coil, sir.
Okay.
The
See,
conductor.
current and coils. So suppose you're looking at the current carrying coil from this side, okay? You're looking at the current carrying coil from this side. What is the direction of current according to you?
Sir, anti-clockwise.
Look clearly and see. Is it anti-clockwise? I told you yesterday, right? You need to look at the center. For whichever side you are able to see the center, the coil is turned on that side. So they have given one thing, right? So they have given the darker one is towards you and this one is away from you. So it is
Yes, sir.
clockwise,
Clockwise.
right? Current is in clockwise direction means you are facing the south pole.
South pole.
And tapping key just closed means current will increase from 0 to something. So when current is increasing, magnetic field will increase. When magnetic field is increasing, flux will increase. When flux is increasing, what will happen to the coil this side? Now you start looking at the second coil from this side. Okay.
Okay.
So then again, look at the center. You're able to see the center means the coil is turned on the left of you. So keep your
Yes, sir.
palm exactly straight. Keep your palm perpendicular to the paper. Keep your left palm perpendicular to the paper. Okay. Then turn your palm slightly left, so that the knuckles are at the back side and you're able to see the lines on your palm. Okay,
sir.
that is how this coil is. Okay, when it is south facing, the south pole is this side and the flux is increasing. And the flux is increasing. This side will be south pole and this side will be north pole. When it is north pole, what is the direction of current?
Anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise.
So what will be the answer?
Sir, Y
YZ X.
Yes. YZ XY. Are you guys able to visualize it? It's a slightly
Yes.
tricky. Right? So by now, I hope you understood how to look at the coils. Right? So generally, if they give an arrow mark like this, that is away from you. So again, they both are having common axis. Right? So I always prefer to see from the side where I'm able to see the center. So when I see from this side, what is the direction of current according to me?
South pole.
Anti-clockwise, north
North pole.
pole. So backside is obviously going to be south pole. Now, the rheostat setting is being changed by having a constant battery. Is the resistance decreased or increased by the way they are moving? So, had it been at point A, had the arrow mark been at point A, then maximum resistance would have got introduced. And it is being moved towards a point of lower resistance. So when they are moving it towards lower resistance, they are increasing the value of lower the resistance, more is the value of current. More is the value of current, more will be the value of magnetic field. So more is the value of magnetic field, what will get induced? Same polarity. Now, I am seeing from this side. You understood why I'm seeing from this side? If that side is north pole, this side will be south pole. Right?
Yes, sir.
Take your right hand. Okay. Take your right hand and keep it perpendicular to the paper. And turn your right hand in the clockwise direction such that you are able to see the lines on your palm. I repeat it. Take your right hand, keep it on the paper exactly perpendicular to it so that you're able to see only your forefinger. Now, with respect to that vision, turn your right hand in the clockwise direction. So you'll be able to see the lines on your palm.
Yes, sir.
So that is what you're seeing here. So what will be the direction of current since it is south pole?
Sir, clockwise.
Yes. So YX.
YXZ. Y.
That's it. Okay. Similarly, these two I'm leaving it to you to try. I want you to tell tomorrow. We are going to do the next problem. E and F you guys are going to do. We will do the next problem. So use Lenz's law to determine the direction of induced current in the situation described by figure 6.19. So wire of irregular shape turning into a circular shape. So there is a wire of irregular shape that is turning into a circular shape. So this is into the plane. So your paper is the south pole, right? Your paper is
Yes,
facing you, obviously you're the north pole. So what is happening to the flux here? Magnetic field is uniform, orientation is uniform.
Sir,
So what-
the area will be changing.
Area is going to
Change.
by what? Increase or decrease?
Sir, it will increase, I guess.
It
Because the
will
wire is
increase, right?
expanding. Yes, sir.
Yes. When the area increases, then what will happen? According to the Lenz's law,
Flux will also increase.
yes, flux is increasing, same polarity as U will get generated. So it will be North Pole. Correct? Because the coil is facing you, you're the North Pole. Increase in
Yes.
flux, same polarity. So North Pole
Yes,
means
sir.
what will be the direction of current? DCBAD. Correct?
Yes, sir.
DCBAD. That's it. Then what about the second case? A circular loop being deformed into a narrow straight wire.
So the flux will decrease.
Flux will decrease. First of all, the polarities. This is North Pole and it is facing the South Pole. Since the flux is decreasing, opposite polarity will get generated. So it is going to be North Pole. And since it is
North
North Pole, current is again in the anti-clockwise direction. So answer will be A dash, D dash, C dash, B dash, A dash. So always when you're writing the direction, no, with whatever point you're starting, you need to end it with the same point.
Okay.
So don't write A, D, C, B and leave it. You should write A dash, D dash, C dash, B dash and A dash. Okay. That is a rule to write. Am I clear till this point?
Yes, sir.
So I will tell you what are all the problems you guys can do. At 6.3 you can do, 6.4 you can do, 5 you can do, 6 and 6, 7, 8 also you can do. Okay, all these problems you guys can try. Okay. So what are all the topics that are left out? So the topics that are left out are, we'll be discussing about inductance, mutual inductance. Okay. So inductance means self-inductance, mutual inductance, eddy current and generator. With that, this chapter is over. So tomorrow we'll be completing two important subtopics, that is inductance and mutual inductance. In the class next to it, we'll be completing eddy currents and the alternating current. Okay. So as I told you, I want you all to start studying. I'll suddenly announce all the tests. So keep studying, okay? Be in touch with the subject. Any other doubt from today's class?
Awesome.
Good. Okay then. We'll wind up. I'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.